Hey guys, so today I'm going to be working on this illustration from a book series I'm writing and give y'all a few details as I go. So this book is about a girl named Olivia who finds this charm bracelet and instantly her entire world gets turned upside down. She discovers that not only is the charm bracelet connected to a little dragon named Lou, but there's also a great danger coming that she has to stand against. At first, she doesn't want to. She's confused, she's scared, and more than anything, she does not want to be involved. But she doesn't have a choice, because the moment she put on the bracelet, it created a bond between her and the dragon. One thing I really wanted to convey in this story is that you don't have to be extraordinary to be important. And you don't have to have this endless supply of bravery to be a hero. When she is first introduced into this new world, she knows nothing. She's not a fighter, she's not brave, and she has no self-assurance, and through a big portion of the book, when it comes time to fight, she hides. When I first started coming up with this idea a few years ago, the whole plot and idea was entirely different. Originally, it was supposed to be a female modern version of the Three Musketeers. It was originally going to be called the Musketeers. It was supposed to be about these four girls who they all went to school together, but they didn't really know each other. But they ended up coming closer and connecting when all four of their fathers mysteriously disappeared. And they later learned that their fathers were spies, and they kind of follow in those footsteps while trying to find out what happened and rescue their dads. I originally chose the four girls' names very deliberately to kind of copy the Musketeers. I later figured out that my resources were wrong, but the names stuck and I didn't change them. Olivia, I called her Olivia because when I Googled it, thanks Google, someone had said that D'Artagnan's first name was Oliver. Turns out that's wrong. His first name is Charles. His entire name is Charles de Batz de Castlemore. How they got D'Artagnan out of that, I will never know. Then Ariana is a play on Aramis. And from the same site that I learned D'Artagnan's first name was Oliver, or not, I also learned that Anthos and Porthos, his names were Isaac and Henry. But as you can guess, those were incorrect as well. But by the time I figured that out, it was too late. The names were there and they stuck. Hence, their names are Henrietta and Isla. And originally, they were cousins. But I decided to make them twins when I rewrote the plot. Now, getting back to Olivia here, her design here is vastly different from her original. As you can see, originally she was very much into pink and kind of was trying to give their outfits a bit of a musketeer vibe, but that just didn't work out. When the plot changed, a lot of the original designs and personalities changed too. Originally, Olivia was very self-assured, very stubborn. She was a good fighter, she had a black belt, she knew fencing, and she's good at everything. But now, she's not. She's a little more normal, which I think is a good thing. And her outfit is also a bit more laid back, but a little bit more medieval. The thought that led to me changing the plot to its very vastly different form that it is now was I just started thinking about how in like other movies or comics or stuff, when you have multiple characters, if they have a specific personality or like a superpower or something, it's normally based off of the elements: fire, air, water, wind, earth. And yes, I just said air twice. But it's used over and over and over, almost to the point that it might could get a little old sometimes. Then I started thinking, what if instead of the elements, what if their personalities were kind of based off of the time of day? So I started playing around with the idea of twilight, daylight, and midnight. And then I realized that was only 3. I couldn't think of a 4th one. And then I thought, well, what creates the daylight and the midnight is the sun and the moon. So they kind of became the core of this whole shift in my plot. Olivia was chosen to be the moon, and because of that, her personality started to change on me. Now, her outfit here, as has already been discussed, originally she wore pink. It was a lot of pink. Very loud, very bright, but when she became this kind of portrayal of the moon, the pink had to go. So I opted for these more cool colors that you would generally think of when you look up at the night sky, this blues and dark purples, and then of course the silver is kind of, silvery moon and the stars, just to try and give you as much of that dark midnight vibe as I can, because she is the night, not like Batman, but she's kind of the night in that sort of way. Anyway, one piece of her outfit that you don't see here is she has a cape with this huge hood that casts a shadow on her face that kind of hides her identity. And I chose that because there's a mystery with the moon. You always hear about, being as mysterious as the dark side of the moon, and that's kind of, that's who she is. So I added a cape just to try and keep that theme going. Now, this boy here, he has probably caused me the most trouble in this story. His original name and role, his name was Louis, kind of a play off of King Louis, who the Three Musketeers served. But then he changed his name to Denver. I'm not quite sure how or why that happened. And then after the plot kind of dropped the whole Musketeer thing and went this new route, his name changed again to what it is now, which is Atlas. And as I said, his original role was, he was supposed to be a play on King Louis. So he was a rich kid that was constantly in danger that the girls had to rescue. And he and Olivia had this kind of love-hate relationship going on. They would die for each other, but they also argued, and he did everything in his power to aggravate her. They went to school together, so they kinda knew each other, but she just thought he was a rich, spoiled brat. But that kinda changed. So after the plot shifted, he was still their classmate, but he was kinda a jerk. He loved to tease her and make her life miserable, and her friends liked to tease her. That was because he had a crush on her. She denied it. Turns out that they were right, which in hindsight is really lame. I'm sorry, anyone else who's done that. But he already knew about everything going on in the background. And he actually gets very upset and worried when he figures out that the girls are involved. And so he kind of tries to protect them and help them. And for a while, his identity was hidden. But then that idea got scrapped too. Then he became a actual guardian. And it was his job to find the moon charm bracelet with Lou And Olivia found it first, so then he was put in charge of being her bodyguard, which he did not appreciate at all. And then that went away too. So the final verdict of his personality and his role is he is Olivia's best friend. She has a close friend, Ariana, but Atlas has known her since before they can even remember, and they are very close. She depends on him entirely, and she trusts him more than anyone else in the world, but she doesn't know that he has secrets. A lot of secrets. And they're things he's been keeping from her in his attempt to keep her safe. But once she finds the charm bracelet that's connected to Lou, he can no longer protect her from the danger that he's been working so hard to keep away. And he realizes that he's going to have to bring her in and tell her everything and train her, which could be the hard part because she's never fought anything in her life. But you figure out that Atlas he knows a lot more than anyone else in the story. He's got lots of secrets, and he knows things he shouldn't, and he only gives out information when it's absolutely necessary. Even though most people think it would have been better if he'd given it out sooner. But he picks what he says and when he says it, and no one can make him say otherwise. Now, in case you hadn't already guessed, his role in this story is kind of based off of the sun. So you have the sun and the moon mentality sort of going on here. He is very bright, he's very fierce, but in a good way, and he is very keen on keeping those he cares about safe. He's the leader of the group for a while. Olivia is supposed to be the leader, but he knows she's not ready, so he takes the role while she learns how things are going. He also has a little sidekick, like how Olivia has a little dragon named Lou. He has a little phoenix named Phoenix. Don't judge me on how easy it was to pick that name. But their relationship in this story is, it drives their friends crazy. Because they are best friends, but they are just friends. And everyone knows that there's more between them, but neither one is willing to admit it. So, as you can see, they both have weapons. That's because they are fighting. She has a double-ended sickle, which is actually fairly new. She started out with a sword, and then I started thinking I always make my characters fight with swords. I want something else. So I went and looked up some different weapons, and I came across the double-ended sickle, and I thought, oh yeah, that is awesome, and that's what she is going to have. So that just kind of became her thing. Atlas still has a sword because you have to have a sword. I'm sorry. Any story I write, there is a sword in there somewhere. I am a major sword nerd. Now, his sword is supposed to be flaming, which once I actually get around to coloring it here, you'll see that it's just bright golden. There's a reason for that. I can't draw fire. I have tried, and it comes out looking so lame so often that I just gave up and just made it be really shiny. Which, I guess that works too. It's still pretty cool. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap things up here now. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize for my weird, scratchy voice. I've had a cold, and well, this video had to get done sometime, and I was out of time. Be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to keep up with everything that's coming, because I have a lot of plans and a lot of fun stories and art and just a whole bunch of new stuff coming. So be sure to keep track of that, and y'all have a nice day. Bye.